Good morning to all the attendees. I am Amisha, host of this session. And on behalf of Solution Buggy, I extend a very warm welcome to you all at AIM 2025, accelerating innovation and ideas in manufacturing. Innovation in manufacturing is not just staying competitive, it's about building a sustainable, futuristic journey for every entrepreneur stepping into this industry. At Solution Buggy, we are proud to be India's largest manufacturing consulting platform, connecting over 50,000 plus industry with a network of more than 12,000 plus verified export. We are also grateful to our strategic and media partners, Wadhwani Foundation, NEERI, NIFTEM, University of Horticultural Science, Bagalkot, Chamber of Advancement of SMBs, Indus Business Academy Bangalore, Food and Drink Innovation, Food Tech Parsala, and the Government of Karnataka for their support in making this webinar possible. Under the AIM banner, we have carefully chosen topics that are shaping the future of manufacturing, from high value and specialty chemicals, green and sustainable chemicals, food processing, beverage development, nutraceutical packaging, energy, to a 360-degree approach to entrepreneurship in manufacturing. Today, we begin with our first session, high value chemicals. And we are privileged to have three esteemed speakers with us today. Mr. Kedar Pandya, National Head of SMB Programs at Wadhwani Foundation, with over a decade of experience in strategy consulting and ecosystem development. He is driving national initiative to help ambitious business unlock 3x growth trajectory. Mr. Krishna Sethi, Director, Operation and Commercial at CROP Jeevan Agro Research and Development Private Limited, with 33 across nutraceutical, cosmetic, steel, agro, edible oil, and herbal extract. Mr. Guru Prasad Bangli, Director at Solution Buggy with 20 plus years in consulting, and AIIM alumni and a successful entrepreneur who sold his large venture property to Magic Bricks. So let's begin. I invite Mr. Kedar Pandya to share his insight on current manufacturing viabilities across sectors and structural growth planning for ambitious entrepreneur. So over to you, Mr. Kedar.
Hi, I hope I'm audible.
You are audible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you and welcome to all of you. And I think I would like to thank Solution Buggy for such a great initiative that you have taken to actually unleash the potential of India's manufacturing sector. And I would like to first apologize for I have a bad throat today, so I'm just going to keep it short, but would definitely like to speak to and hear from all of you sometime in the future. So at Wadhwani Foundation, what we are doing, in fact, it goes very well and aligns well with what Solution Buggy is trying to achieve through this marathon of webinars over the next 3 to 4 days. We are working towards, making this growth and making these ideas viable and supporting entrepreneurs who want to take up these manufacturing idea and diversify into new sunrise sectors, such as, I think one of the sector that we are talking about today is high value chemicals. In addition to that, food and beverages, defense, engineering, machine tools. So these are the sectors where we see a tremendous growth which is going to come for India, and it is going to contribute to the GDP of India. So we are looking at, by 2047, becoming a developed economy, and to become that developed economy and contribute towards the growth story of India. Manufacturing sectors and identification of new such opportunities is going to play a significant role. At Foundation, our mission is actually supporting India's growth through job creation, And job creation, as all of you know, is going to come from this very sector that we are going to talk about over the next couple of days, right? So few trends I think I believe is going to be captured in the coming days. But as a foundation, what we see, and from a job creation perspective, and also from the economic growth perspective, few sectors that India will actually will create a significant difference is one, definitely looking at specialty chemicals and chemical sector. uh, Defense is and defense manufacturing is going to play. Now, defense is a broader sector which has subsectors in it. So we see a significant new growth opportunities, and for the businesses who are diversifying from the old engineering sector to a new age engineering sector and machine tool sector. So defense is one sector where we see a lot of growth which is going to come. Apart from that, food and beverages is one other sector where the foundation works end to end, working with food farmers producing organization FPOs till the food secondary and tertiary food processing companies. So this is another sector which we see is going to play a significant role in India's our GDP growth over the next couple of years. The third is renewable energy, and EV are the other sectors where we see, and I think some of these are going to be discussed over the next 3 to 4 days. But we as a foundation, working with almost 1,000 plus companies across India and identifying those growth sectors, I think these sectors, as a manufacturer, some of you are already into business, already manufacturing in some other sector and looking at diversifying into new segments. We see a tremendous potential to actually take up any of these growth ideas and manufacturing ideas and implementing this and contribute towards the GDP growth of India, right? So at foundation, and just towards the end, I would like to just spend probably another 1 minute to talk about why foundation is doing what it is doing, right? So foundation was started by Dr. Ramesh, who is an Indian American millionaire. He's 78 years old today, and starting his new startup in I think around 5 to 6 months back. So look at the spirit that we live in. Foundation is truly entrepreneurial spirit, and we can actually learn from Ramesh Wadhwani, who is supporting entrepreneurs in India and other 15 global South countries to create jobs, and not just any jobs, jobs with family sustaining wages, right? So we believe you guys are going to play a crucial role in creating jobs for the new India, and you are going to play a crucial role in the development and contributing probably $1 to $2 trillion coming in from these new sectors that we are going to talk about over the next 2 to 3 days. So just imagine the sectors that Solution Buggy is going to talk about would have a significant contribution in next 5 to 7 years in India's GDP. So you guys are going to become part of that growth story. So please, I would again like to thank Solution Buggy and providing this platform to the entrepreneurs and actually helping unleashing India's true growth potential. Thank you everyone, and all the best for the next 3 days.
Thank you, Mr. Kedar, for that insightful session. It was highly valuable for both established business owner and aspiring entrepreneur. Next, I invite Mr. Krishna Sethi to take us through the world of high-value chemicals, market details, training project, and supply chain strategy. Over to you, Mr. Krishna.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Kedar, for your introduction earlier. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hope I'm audible. Yeah, right. Okay. I believe in the audiences we have some businessmen who already have experience, okay, and some freshers, right, and some graduates, some masters, trying to understand what is the potential level like. Okay, I'm here to share to understand, what can be done, I mean, okay, as Mr. Kedar rightly briefed. Okay. To introduce myself, I'm Krishna Shetty, basically a chemical engineer with 33 years of experience in pharmaceutical, nutraceuticals, and cosmetic industry and energy also. Okay. I started my career in way back in 1990 in Nicholas Piramal in Hyderabad, and moved on to Aarti Group of Industries in Maharashtra for about 7 years. I was there. Then Cipla in Kurkum in Pune. Then I moved back to Bangalore. I was with Haikal Pharmaceuticals, then Global Calcium and Kumar Organics. These are the industries where I served. So in these industries, I was heading their productions, operations, finance management, and finally global marketing. I mean, okay. So I executed their greenfield projects in Cipla, Aarti, and other industries. I handled projects worth 350 crore worth in my career. I mean, okay. I was heading the operations of Cipla, which was 1,000 crore plus at Kurkum, and in Bangalore, Kumar Organics at 500 crore plus. I mean, okay. This is brief about me. Okay. Go to next slide, please. Okay. See, today we are here basically to understand the high value chemicals, the opportunities in that. Okay, right? So you all might be surprised, what do you mean by high value chemicals, right? Okay. So we can segregate these high value chemicals in two ways. I mean, one is by volume, another is by value. I mean, okay. See, there are chemicals which are used day and out, okay, throughout industries. Those comes under high volume. I mean, okay, they add up to the high value chemicals. And secondly, by value, there are chemicals, particularly example to say like anti-cancer drugs. There are new drugs which we manufacture, which are costing almost 50 lakhs per kg as to 1 crore per kg also. That's what I mean. Just to give an indication, I mean, what is okay, right? Now, what factors, okay, that give a push to Indian entrepreneurs to get into this sector, I would say, right? As you all know that we're world's fourth largest economy now with 4.19 trillion economy, right? Very soon we'll be surpassing Germany to become third economy now, right? Okay, maybe in next 2-3 years. That's one. And we are growing at the pace of 7%, which is one among the best in the world now, right? Okay, none in the globe are having that economy, right? And when we again go back to that, right? If you see within that 7%, industrial sector is doing at 7.5%, whereas agriculture is growing at 3.5%. Okay, right? Just to give the indication about the GDP and why we should consider that. Okay, right? And another important factor why we should choose this category are high value chemicals is China has slowed down. You all know that for whatever reason maybe. Okay. And there is no a reliable, capable alternative across the globe. Okay, so we are the trusted partners across globe. Okay, after China now. So you see, there is saying, right? Some other is failures is our success. I mean, right? So let us materialize the opportunity. Like Chinese failures are our success, I would say, right? So I would say let us use the opportunity where where they are not trusted, they are not capable, we can make it. I mean, okay. That's what it is. Okay. Go back next slide. Okay. See, can you just pop up that image there? Go back to last slide. Graph, right? Yeah. Just press on that. If you can. Yeah. See, here you can see, specialty chemical industry as a segment, how it's growing. I mean, can you make it full screen? Is it possible? No. Okay. See, here you can see the segment wise the how the industries are making business across. Okay. Of course, in this one, APIs APIs means active pharmaceutical ingredients missing. Excluding this is the share of the major industries across the globe. I mean, leaving active pharmaceuticals, what you see is majorly agrochemicals, okay, which are almost contributing to 30% of the global economics. Okay, and next comes dyes and pigments, right? Then surfactants, textile chemicals, right? Construction chemicals, polymers. This is just indication. I mean, to choose which one to. I mean, that's what. Okay, yeah. Go back. Next slide. Okay, so here is the again numbers. Okay, the market opportunity in India. Okay, see right now, high value chemicals is valued at 40 to 46 billion dollars, right? And CAGR almost average. I can put it 10%. It's not a joke. I mean, right? The people who are in the business, they can understand what does it mean. Okay, and projection by 2030, 2030 is almost hoping 383 billions, because next 3 years or so will be the third economy in the world, right? Okay, these are the numbers we can project. I mean, okay, right? And 2040 will be 1 trillion. Maybe I think we'll be surpassing US also, like America also by 2040. Okay, these are the numbers. So these are in fact motivating numbers, right? Okay, hope you understand that. Okay, go to next. Now, segment wise to understand, high value chemicals, I mean, as it was indicated in that graph, agrochemicals, okay, which are rising in demand for insecticides, fungicides, and herbicides. See, because of the growing population, okay, so food is the basic requirement for the population. So agro is growing, and obviously even agrochemicals. I mean, okay, as you seen in the last slide, also the almost 30% of the global market comes from that. I mean that, okay, right. And next segment is pharmaceutical nutraceuticals. You will in the next slides you will understand what are the volumes globally and the scope. I mean, okay. Again, this is because of population, particularly after COVID, there is a great demand for health and right. Okay, so the whole world is behind. I mean, what is happening there. Even America, notwithstanding the growth, it has put sanctions and all, but it will never stop. Okay, it cannot stop Indians from that. I mean, right. The whole, I think after China, we are the second largest exporters of pharmaceutical ingredients. I mean, right. Okay, you'll understand more in the next slides. And going forward, next growing section is personal care ingredients, and after that is dyes and pigments. So again, in the next slides, I will brief you what are these personal care and kind of thing. Okay, please go next slides. Yeah. So after these four, next categories would be construction chemicals, water treatment, and specialty polymers. Okay, right. So construction chemicals, as you know, which are adding to the infrastructure. I mean, infrastructure is which is one major measure for the economy. I mean, okay. So it is booming. Next 10, 15 years, nobody can stop the infrastructure process in India, right? Okay. So definitely construction chemicals are one of the basic need for the industry. And again, water is the mother of all chemistries. You all know that, right? And water treatment will be base for every industry. I mean, right? Okay, whether it is a industrial application or drinking application, anything, even beverage application also. This is a major opportunity in water treatment also. And again, specialty polymers, like they have the applications, electronic software and all. Okay, so when it comes to the special session further, we will understand more on that. Okay, yeah. Next slide, please. So these are the few names of the high value chemical product, just to indicate you like, okay. I think the people who are in the industry may understand. Okay, these are the few solvents like acetone, DMF, dimethyl formamide, okay, N-methylpredilone and ethyl acetate. These are the high volume products which are used in and out in the industries. Okay, without these chemicals, okay, the industries cannot run. Okay, every industry, particularly pharmaceutical and most of the chemical industries, polymer industries, so there's surfactants. I mean, without these industries cannot run. I mean, okay, so that is how the volumes are so huge. Okay, it can be clubbed into the high value product. I mean, okay, these products go by volume. Okay, when it comes to the business. I mean that. Okay, right. And next, anyway, we'll consider cosmetic ingredients as a brief view and electronic grade chemicals. Yes, you know that it's booming. Even chips manufacturers come to India very soon. We'll be having our own, right? Okay. So EV batteries is the next generation, right? Okay. We all know that what is the EV sector is growing. I mean, okay. Next, that is what it is. Okay. People are considering the environmental pollution load and all. Okay, right. So even the government, globally, governments are supporting the EV vehicles. Okay, so this is one of the sector which will go booming. I mean, and as I said, agrochemical intermediates in the last slide is okay. That is one of the major sector which is going with the population. I mean, okay, yeah. Go next. My request: any queries you have, please note down. Okay, after the session, during question and answer session, we can interact. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Let us go a little brief on this, active pharmaceutical ingredients, right? Okay. If people are aware, well and good. I mean, for a few who are not aware, okay, these are things. Basically, active pharmaceutical ingredients are the chemicals which are actively, biomedically acting in our body. They're in the medicines, I mean. Okay. For the example, like people may be consuming Dolo 650, and crocin tablets, let's say, right? So the active content in that means the major medicine which works as a for our body is paracetamol. Okay, this is one example giving. So in the tablet or in the capsule, the paracetamol is the active pharmaceutical ingredient. Okay, just to indicate you what is active. Normally we hear these chemicals as medicines, right? Okay, we may not be used to the terminology APIs. I mean, so API is the active content in the medicine which is biologically reacting with the body. I mean, see, in a tablet, normally if it is a 500 mg, let's say, okay, so the tablet may be weighing 1000 milligrams, let's say, but active content in that one is 500 milligrams. Rest all, the binding agents, coloring agent, sweeteners, taste makers, and all, right? Okay, that's how the medicines are made. I mean, okay. So just to go down again, to understand the categories within APIs, okay, or active pharmaceutical ingredients, we can categorize these drugs into antibiotics, antidepressants, okay, antipyretides, and okay, I think we not understand this. Okay, you can read out there. I mean, okay, there are many categories. I would say, antibiotics, okay, and central nervous system drugs. I mean, okay, which are majorly used in American market. I mean, you don't believe. One of the drug what we were making in earlier company, we were making 200 tons of that product. Okay, I can say the name. I mean, gabapentin. Let's say I don't know if your people are aware. Gabapentin is one of the product. We are making almost 200 tons per month. Okay, and the whole product was exporting to America. Can you believe it? Okay, so means excluding India, though population was India, we are 140 billion. But consumption was very low. I mean, okay, literally Americans live on drugs and medicines. I mean, okay, there is day starts with medicines and with that. I mean, okay, even they have the standard packages what they have to take in the morning, what in the morning, kind of thing. Maybe because of their immunity level or whatever it may be. Okay, that's what. Okay, right. So this is the scope available, and as you see in the graph at the end, okay, see today, and 25. The global market is around 265 US dollars billion. I mean, okay. Now, what is the number in 2033? You can see that it's almost doubling, right? Okay, 460 billion US dollars. I mean, you can imagine the scope, okay, and opportunities, okay, and with people with knowledge, we can understand what is the opportunities. I mean, okay. I don't know. Later in the question and answer, if somebody is having any queries, we'll go. Otherwise, okay, I think this is self understanding. Okay, right. Go to next slide, please. Similarly, nutraceuticals. Can you expand? No. Full screen? Can we? No. Okay. I can't read it. If possible. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Nutraceuticals also play a major role. It is because of the side effects of the drugs, let us say. Okay. Right. Doctors only at the last stage of our disease, I mean, right? That's where this nutraceutical doesn't work. I mean, okay, so people then prescribe the so-called English medicines about it. They are all APIs, let's say, right? Now, how to avoid these drugs who have side effects in the long run, let's say. in particular, you all might have heard about the um, supplements during COVID period, right? You all remember COVID period. I think our generation cannot forget that COVID, right? Okay. So during COVID, people were talking about zinc supplements, calcium supplements, right? Okay. So just to make you understand, these are the one nutraceuticals which gives the immunity to our body. Okay. See, what has happened is in olden days, or maybe in our generation of our fathers and all, through foods, people, used to get the immunity by itself, because, foods were, rich in nutrient and they contained everything. So in the years, what has happened is our food is very low in nutrients. Okay, right? So our body doesn't get the required nutrients to support our health. Okay, that is how the immunity of the current generation is low. Okay, and that too, we Indians are far better when compared to the other generations across the globe. That you all witnessed in the COVID time again, right? So the casualty rate of our Indians is very low when compared to the Americans and Europeans, right? Okay. So that is because the immunity on it. Okay, right? So because they're not getting immunity through their food, what is next, right? The solution is nutraceuticals, right? So there are, if you want to segregate again, like there are plant-based nutraceuticals, animal-based, and micro-based. Okay. I'm not going to detail again. Just to brief you in the slide, you can see that, right? How the nutraceuticals segregated. Right? Okay. Go to next. Yeah, can you elaborate this? The bottom one. Yeah. Okay. Here again, you can see the classifications of nutraceuticals. Okay. I will not believe. Okay. The nutraceuticals, if taken in time in advance, okay, they can as well cure the anti-cancer. Like they can act as anti-cancer drugs. Okay. If taken these nutraceuticals since beginning, we can as well avoid the cancers also. Okay. So now coming back, nutraceuticals are can be segregated majorly into anti-cancer, okay, and positive influences in body lipid profiles, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, and osteogenic and bone protection. Okay, these are the major classifications of where nutraceuticals are prescribed. That's okay. I would say this nutraceutical will be surpassing the API industry very soon. Okay, very soon. Okay, now you saw that API industry is 480 billions. Where I think in the next picture you'll see that what is the numbers of these nutraceuticals. Can you go? Yeah, you can see the numbers here. APIs you saw, in 2033 the numbers were some 450 billions. Nutraceuticals is almost 1,085 billions. Okay, right? You can imagine the potential here. Okay, I need not tell again, right? This is the potential available, and just for information, compared to the criticality or regulatory norms, restrictions, or the quality aspects in APIs, nutraceuticals are far easy to operate. Okay, because nutraceuticals is considered as good as a food additives. Okay, like supplements, right? Okay, so the quality I don't say quality norms. The regulatory norms are as that stringent as APIs. Okay, right? See, APIs means because they're directly acting on your body, affected body parts, like whether it's a liver, lung, or heart. Okay. So for that reason, that the regulators are extra cautious, because they're directly impacting on your body parts. Right. Whereas this nutraceutical acts as supplements more of that. Right. Okay. Taken in advance, they as a antioxidant, immunity builders. Right. Okay. That's how they act. So for that reason, the regulatory aspects are, I would say, hardly 30%, the 30 to 40% of the when compared to the active pharmaceutical ingredients. Okay, so you can see the volumes. Definitely, this is inspiring for me. Okay, right? Hope it is for you also. Right? Go to next slide, please. So another sector similar to nutraceutical is herbals. Okay. See, you may ask now, what is the difference between nutraceutical and herbals, right? Okay. See, nutraceuticals are mainly chemicals only, okay, right? But they are the combination of natural and synthetic. Okay. Whereas herbal supplements, they are mostly totally from the plant origin. Okay. see, when we say herb, I think most of people understand. Herb, one example I can give is a turmeric. It's a herb, okay? Or even coriander is a herb. I mean, similarly, everything what you see in the market is herb only, or the particularly the greens what you consume is all herbs only, I would say, right? Okay. Now, why this herbal supplements, right? Again, the factor is whatever the veggies we eat, the active content in those veggies is hardly 2 to 3%. Okay, right? Again, I would say I will take the example of turmeric. Let's say turmeric, the active content in that is curcumin. Okay, the medical term for that active content in turmeric is curcumin. Okay, so 1 kg of turmeric contains hardly 3 to 5% of that curcumin, right? So curcumin is the one which helps us in building the immunity or antioxidant activities. Okay, means when we consume turmeric, okay, curcumin is the active content which helps our body to build our immunity at its level. Now, is it how is it available to body? So we hardly consume hardly 1 gram, 2 grams of that turmeric powder, right? Our mother may be adding in our cooking, or your wife may be adding in cooking, right? Hardly 1 or 2 grams, right? Okay. So in that 1 or 2 grams of turmeric powder, imagine that turmeric, curcumin level in that, nothing, hardly 30 micrograms, something like that, right? Okay. And again, when it is taken into the body, the absorption of the body also will be hardly 25 to 30%. Okay, means that curcumin when goes to body, the absorptivity of that particular active ingredient by our body organs is hardly 30%. Means, frankly speaking, nothing is going to our body, right? Okay, right? Because people are neglected all these days. I mean, right? Okay, so that is how it is. To now coming back, how to make it all well now, right? Okay, that is opportunity. So when we say herbal supplements or herbal extracts is what we do. This turmeric, it is extracted using water or solvent, I mean, or ethyl alcohol, ethyl acetate, whatever, depending on the feasible solvents. Okay, so this particular 3 to 5% of curcumin, what is available in turmeric, that is extracted, right? That is 100% pure now, or at least 95%, let's say, right? Okay, so this curcumin is made available in the form of either capsules or in liquid syrups, okay, or any other form, I mean, right? Okay, so that is how, and during formulation, it will be added with some of the ingredients which makes this curcumin, transform to the body organs, I mean, okay, right? It requires, right? Okay, so this is the formulation technology, okay, that we can discuss later, I mean. So with this process, these active content are made available to the body, I mean, right? Okay, this is one example I gave you how this active content in turmeric made available to the body, right? Okay, so which otherwise, we assume that we are consuming it's good for health, but it literally it's not happening, I mean, okay. So this is how the active content in anything can be done, I mean, whether it is beetroot or a carrot or many organs, even ashwagandha you must have heard, right? Okay, plenty, I mean, even ashwagandha is used for immunity building, okay, and boswellia is one of the herb where it is majorly used in the joint management, I mean, right? So taken in time, it can even avoid all these joint pains and all, it can avoid that way. Okay, so there are plenty similar herbal products which are act similar to nutraceuticals, okay, right, to boost our immunity and the health. Okay, right. Go to next slide, please. Can you elaborate this? So this is a market size in herbal medicines. Okay, you can see today we are in hardly 100 billion by 2030. Okay, it's growing almost 250%. I mean, right? Okay, this is growth potential. I mean, right? Okay, so in fact, India is one of the largest player in herbal medicines, I would say, next to Germany, right? Okay, we are the largest one. I know few of the companies in India. I don't know. I should not take the names in this session, but they have their own, billions of market in US. I'm telling you, okay, right? I personally handle their global market. I'm telling you, okay. So people really, want them. I mean, okay, because knowing the side effects of this, so-called English medicines, what we call, okay, people, inclined to herbal and nutraceuticals. I mean, okay. So there's a huge potential. If people are interested, yes, in the later sessions, one-to-one, we can discuss later. Okay, yeah. Go next slide, please. So coming to pesticides, in and out, we hear of these pesticides, right? Okay. Without pesticides, our agriculture growth would have not happened, right? And I think we not have survived without these chemicals. I mean, today, if at all the whole world is self-sufficient in food, it is because of the pesticides. I would say it's not just pesticides, insecticides, fungicides. There are different categories. Yeah, as you see in the middle column there, we can divide these pesticides into these categories. I mean, they are divided into or categorized into herbicides, insecticides. Okay, these two you don't understand: rodenticide and fungicide. I mean, okay. Herbicides are majorly to remove the unwanted, grass or weed and all what we call in the farms. I mean, okay, because these weed and grass, they consume more of the nutrition rather than our crops. I mean, okay. So timely removal of these are must in order to grow our crops or in order to have our plants to absorb the nutrition in the fields. That's okay. So time to time removal of herbicides is important. Similarly, you don't believe insecticides. I mean, there are number of diseases in plants are 100 times more than human beings. You don't believe, right? Because human beings, we are just only one, right? Okay, the most of the diseases are common. I mean, okay, at least across the country we are common, right? Okay, maybe when we put continent there may be some differences. Otherwise, there are common diseases. But whereas in crops, every crop has its own diseases. Can you understand, right? Every crop, whether it is jowar, whether it is a wheat, whether it is a paddy, every crop has got its own diseases, right? Now we can multiply, okay, number of crops or the pulses, grains what you grow and number of diseases, right? Okay, so there's a huge numbers. I mean, that's the very reason if you see in the market there are thousands of insecticides available in the market. I mean, okay, right? So in fact, I would say if we don't use insecticides, our crop yield would be hardly 25%. I mean, right? Means that is the kind of population of insecticides which they will eradicate the crop what we grow. I mean, okay, right? Of course, that is one good side of the pesticides. I mean, but the other side of the pesticides, like we human beings, we overusing everything, right? Okay. Doctors, let's say even in medicines also, right? Okay, doctors prescribes 500 milligram of paracetamol, whereas we go for 650, and they give one tablet where you will consume 3 tablets, like that. Even the abusive use of insecticides is happening in the market. I mean, okay. It's unfortunate, but it is uncontrolled. That's a problem. Okay, we cannot go to the farmer level and ask them to control the use of insecticides, right? Okay, but I think people are getting educated now. Even the lowest level of farmers and their siblings, they're understanding the impact of this excessive use or abusive use of insecticides, and they're getting awareness now. But otherwise, these are the must for our food protection. I mean, okay, right? And the other 2 columns, what is like, how the nature wise, I mean, and the mode of action, I mean, how these chemicals act, I mean, which, we can understand in the next section when the, particularly about this vertical when we discuss that. Okay, right. Go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the market size, I mean, okay, this is only, you can see, today we are at 110 billion US dollars. Okay, it is of course growing at slow pace, but it is ever growing, as I said, because population is growing, everything has to grow. I mean, right? So for food protection, this is a must. I mean, okay. So this is one of the other category which people can consider to, okay, to venture into. Next session. Yeah. So this is another interesting segment, pigments. Our life is nothing without colors, right? Okay. So this is what it is, pigments. I mean, so In pigments, again, there are organic and inorganic, right? As you can see how these organics are divided or inorganic, I mean, okay. So inorganics are mainly, from the synthetic processing, I mean, okay. Whereas when we say organic, they are all compared to the synthetic, they are better for the environment and for the human health, I mean, that way, okay, right? Go to next slide. We'll see the market potential in here. Again, you see, today we're at the CGR is at 5.4%, okay, which is self-explanatory. I mean, again, I would say pigments. Why? Because infrastructure is growing across the globe. Okay, coloring is must. I mean, and every food needs coloring. I mean, right? Okay, and every printing media requires coloring. I mean, right? Okay, everything is I think. Can you imagine the world without colors? Nothing, right? So color is a must ingredient for our life. So that is how the industry is growing at almost 5.4% CAGR, which is not a joke. I mean, so definitely people who want to venture or see the steady stand kind of the growth is this is the one of the vertical you can consider. Okay, right. Go to next, please. Yes, this is one of the interesting theories, surfactants. I hope again, people of at least some of you may aware what is surfactants mean. Okay, surfactants are majorly the leathering agents. Okay, which makes the active ingredient in all your FMCG products make available to the end user. I mean, okay, right? Let's say whether it is a shampoo, the frothing agent, what you see is the surfactant. Okay, and again in your detergent, what you use, what you see is the frothing agent is that also, right? Because the active chemicals which are used in FMCG, they will not immediately available to the end use, okay, unless these surfactants are used again. Okay, so surfactants have become a must ingredient in FMCG, productions. I mean, okay. So this is the different types of surfactants, okay, which are in and out consumed in very high volume. I would say rather. Imagine the quantity of shampoos sold across the globe. Okay, you can, right? So this is that what you say sulfate, sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, what you call that one, or SDPS. Okay, this is a major portion of these ingredients or composition when we formulate these chemicals, right? Now you can imagine one product, you can say anti-dandruff shampoo. You imagine the volume, and 20% of this is a surfactant. You can imagine the volume, right? Okay, this is how the potential for these products in the market. Okay, you will see the magic numbers in the next slide. I mean, okay. So this is how it is. Okay, today it's at 47 US billion, and my next 10 years it is 71. It's also growing at almost 5%. Percentage in that way. Okay, right? So this is one of the sector one must try. I mean, and the one important development what is happening in the surfactants is the chemical surfactants when we are using, ultimately they have to go to the water bodies, right? Means the water bodies are lakes, rivers, sea, and all that, right? Obviously, these are polluting or overloading the carbon level in the in those water bodies. I mean. So new trends in surfactants, what's happening? These chemical surfactants, which are comparatively harmful to the environment, they are being replaced with the biosurfactants. So biosurfactants are majorly made out of microbes, I mean, right? So microbes are normally environment friendly. So they will blend easily with the water or water bodies, okay, and they will be helping. They will not be harming the environment, at least. I mean, so the trend is moving from synthetic surfactants to the biosurfactants. Okay, that's for information. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I think that's about the products or the categories. Now, going forward, the what matters is how to select the technology and the criteria for that, right? Okay. So, as I briefed you in the graphs and kind of thing, okay, it's the major one of the criteria is the product demand. It is there, as you see in all the product, the CGR is almost 5% to 12%. I mean, right? So every product is going, you can select. There are many other categories also. We can discuss later. No issue if somebody is interested. I mean, okay. And what makes us different from other competitors, right? See, today you must have heard that we cannot compete with China, right? That's a normal notion when we go to the market. I mean, okay. So we have to be, we have to have an edge over technology or the chemistry when it comes to to compete with the giants like Chinese in that way. We can help with that because we are a CRO and CDMO, means we are a custom research organization and we are a custom product development manufacturing organization also, where we develop new technologies, okay, new processes, okay, to compete with the our competitors like China, let's say, okay. What happens, or what I've seen in the Indian businessmen or the industrialists is, they don't want to change. I mean, okay, they don't want to change their technology. They are happy in their what they're doing. With that, we cannot compete with the world. I mean, okay, sorry to say that we can't. Okay, so obviously, obviously there is a limitation. Okay, but of course, in India is one of the country where the very least expenditure is done on research also. That also I have to agree. I mean, okay. Anyway, I don't blame industrialists also. Like, finally industrialists are for money. I mean, okay. I don't know what do they with that, asset, what the build up. I mean, finally, if they spend little money on the research, definitely we can beat anybody in the world. I mean, right. So the best example is the ISRO, I would say. I don't say the government name or Modi's name here, but what was before 2014 and what is after 2014, you must have seen, right? There is the whole world is looking at ISRO or India for when it comes to space technology, right? It is because the Indian government spent on the research, right? Then by researching they strengthened the opportunities available and what is the knowledge available they kept into the use. I mean, so we can see then I think there's the best example I used. Before 2014, what was ISRO doing? Now what is doing, right? I need not further brief on that one. It's self-explanatory. The same thing can be made in every vertical what we are making. Okay, definitely China is a competitor. Though the most of the world's countries, they don't want to go to China. Even I get my industry, they want to come to India. But when it comes to the competitiveness, for whatever reason, we're still not able to beat Chinese. I mean, okay, hardly even after this COVID, the whole world is looking for alternatives to China. I mean, right? But still, we are able to use hardly 10% of the opportunities what coming out of China. I mean, okay, the whole world is still dependent on China for the products and technology. I mean, so great potential. Okay, we can help you on that one, whether it is a new process, technology development, okay, kind of thing, right? As I said, the third factor is efficiencies, cost effectiveness, which is continuous in industry. What again I said, I don't say everybody, but most of the industries, they give less effort or emphasis on this. I mean, okay. Just an example to brief you is, in chemistries, what happens? The conversion, let's say I will put it this way. I'll take an example of sodium chloride, let's say, right? Salt. Okay. How salt is formed? It is the reaction between sodium and chloride, right? That is NaCl, what we call, right? Okay. Similarly, when any reaction is done, what happens? A plus B as chemical has to form C, let's say, right? 100% of that. But that doesn't happen. In addition to the product, we get so many impurities, byproducts and all, right? Okay. That is how the efficiency of the reaction or the process matters, right? Okay. So because of the inefficient process design or the critical parameters, inefficiency in controlling the critical parameters, we end up in producing byproducts or the impurities rather than the product. Normally, what I see in the market is the conversion of these chemicals is hardly 60% in average. I mean, when any product is developed, it's hardly 60%. So there is a scope of improving this efficiency from 60 to 99%, right? But of course, there are limitations. If there are engineers in any engineers chemical process, engineers in the group, you can understand. The major parameters which matters for the reaction are converting this A plus B into C is the reaction mechanism, okay, and the temperature and pressure and the mixing. Like, any engineer can understand, it is the unit operation and unit process. These are the two factors which controls the conversion of these chemicals into end product. Okay. What happens is, in the typical conventional technologies, the mixing equipment, so-called reactors, what you use in the reactions, okay, whatever the technology we develop, there is a limitation, because we can hardly increase the the uh, blade or paddle size inside the reactor, right? And we can increase the RPM from 50 to 150 to 100. That's it, right? And we can try to give the heat from the jackets or inducing additional coils in the reactor, let's say, right? This is what best we can do, right? All said and done, what happens? There are again, black spots in the within the mixing unit. Okay, and either heat is not given in time or mixing is not even happening in time. Because of this inefficiency in the in the mixing unit, so this is the it tends to convert into either impurities or byproducts. Okay, so what I mean to say is, the heat at the mixing, if it doesn't happen in the given time, okay, it leads into this unwanted conversion of impurities and the byproducts. Okay. Not only that, these impurities, they add into pollution. Okay. So, as my experience, you all believe, if the people who are into industries, many times treating effluents is a major headache than the producing the major product. That's the experience I have. Major, most of you agree. Also, I'm telling you, really, it's a real headache. See, I was heading Cipla, I was heading Heikel Pharmaceuticals. Most of the times, I was spending my time in effluent plant rather than production unit. Okay, you can understand the pain of that effluent treatment, right? So, as a responsible citizen, as educated people, it is our major responsibility to how to make or how to improve the efficacy from 60 to 95%. Again, you can all challenge me how it is possible. Yes, it is possible. You must have heard that there is a new technology called continuous flow reactors. Okay, I can take you up in the next sessions. Actually, if the people are interested, there using this technology, we can improve the efficacy almost 99%. Depending on that, but at least 80 to 85% is minimum assured. Okay, that's one, right? So again, now with that, we have to adhere to quality production. Okay, quality standards we have to meet across the global standards. As I said, regulatory compliances, like particularly in active format set ingredients, we have to comply to the regulators of each country. Like you might have heard, in America it is a FDA, Food and Drug, US FDA, what we call. Okay, similarly, every country or every region has got its own regulatory standards. Okay. And the third is interoperability, like whatever the new technology products to develop, we have to protect that one, right? So we have to have patents or whatever maybe to protect the technology from the market. Okay, go next slide, please. Okay, these are the strategies. Okay, you all know in the industry, yes, that comes across in the next phase. Okay, right. So we need to have the supplier, good suppliers. Okay, right. Supply chain management, in-time procurement, right. Okay, and we have to secure our supplies through the contracts and cost optimization. Okay, right. These are the minimum things any industry or business has to do. Okay, so when it comes, we can discuss in detail. Okay, for the next slide, please. Yeah, I think these are covered in the earlier sessions also. Okay, cost reduction is continuous, quality is must, right? Efficiency is must. Safety is one of the prime factor in industries. I think people in the industry, they must have heard of the recent incidents in Hyderabad. There was an explosion because of the unsafe conditions in the equipment. Almost some 50 people, there were casualties, 50 people. Unfortunate, but it happens. Negligence of a few people, it leads into this major kind of incidents. But nothing to worry as such. Is right. When you see a number of accidents happening, very minimal. But yes, life is life. We should protect. There are processes which we can overcome those. Okay, right. As again I said, sustainability is must. Okay, that is one of I said efficiency improving. We have to we can achieve the best sustainability in the market. And competitive advantage is again a must in the industry to be in the market, right? Okay, please go next. Okay, I'll not go into this much actually. Okay, no, these are all people are aware anyway. Okay, every industry, like again, in the last discussion, it's all already indirectly covered. I mean, I don't want to get into much. I mean, okay, I'll just read the headings. I mean, see, these days everything is data, right? Okay, right. So we have to have the data-driven decision makings and process into incentivizations, like intensifications. Like we should be very well, right. I would say dynamic in changing the making decisions and kind of thing, right? And green chemistry principles is this is one of the major vertical it's happening in the industry now. There are green chemistry. When we say, it's again the how to reduce the carbon emission, simple as it. Okay, so there are technologies available, selection of specific chemicals, we can reduce this carbon emissions and contribute to our environment protection. I mean, okay, so rest all anyway we move forward. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so that's it from my end. Hope you all liked it. Okay, I will leave to the audience and the kind of thing now. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna. That was a wonderful session full of practical insight for our attendees. Finally, I invite Mr. Guru Prasad Bangle to talk about government incentive structure, regulatory frameworks, and technology aspect that are enabling manufacturing in India. So over to you, Mr. Guru Prasad.
Thank you, Amisha. I hope you are able to hear me. Okay. So it was a wonderful session by Mr. Krishna, and prior to that with Mr. Kedar Pandya from the Wadhwani Foundation. Today the companies and the entrepreneurs that we have worked with till today over the last 8+ years at Solution Buggy, we have seen people coming to us saying, I have a budget in mind and I want to enter this sector. So starting from that point, hand-holding them into looking at what kind of products we can get into, what could be the potential in each of these product ranges. Do I have to initially start off with my own manufacturing unit? These are typically the questions that we keep getting with the entrepreneurs who are working with us. So I think Solution Buggy till date has completed more than 3,500 projects across various sectors, chemicals also being one of them. And more or less, this is what the entrepreneur has in mind. I have a land, I have a budget, and now I want to get into one sector. So, for example, he has chosen the chemical sector. Then, in that case, what are the various government incentives and schemes that he can look at? One. The second thing is, should he do the entire gamut of manufacturing, getting the supply chain in the first place, manufacturing, and getting into distribution of these chemicals all by himself? This is also a very important question. So I think in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I will briefly run you through, various opportunities that you can look at. And we are trying to, kind of segmentize this entire manufacturing process also. As you go along, you will understand. It need not be that, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So if you look at the entire process chain of manufacturing a particular chemical, you could be one player who will be looking at only the supply chain part of it. As Krishna sir was telling, there is huge potential in just getting the right kind of raw materials and chemicals being what it is. There are very stringent requirements for procuring these raw materials, their storage and logistics. So this itself is a very good entry point for anybody who wants to enter the chemical sector. You could be looking at just the handling of very highly volatile chemicals, and even in that case you could be making very significant margins, wherein you don't do much of processing as such. You just look at the regulatory frameworks of procuring these chemicals. Fortunately or unfortunately, most of it still comes from China, as sir was saying. Uh, and what are the ways to get them safely onto Indian shores, and from there onwards transporting them to the factories which are going to process these chemicals. So this itself is a huge opportunity area which could be looked at. And most of it, if you look at, these are not, as sir was also telling, since these are, there are two categories. One is the slightly lower cost but high volume products, which can be looked at. Which obviously, if you look at, there are a lot of players already in the market, and getting into supply chain or getting into raw material procurement for this might not be very lucrative for a new entrant. So the sector which we could be focusing on is the supply chain and logistics handling for high cost but low volume products. In these cases, you will not be looking at a continuous supply chain. It will be more like batch volumes. So in that case, you will have seasonal of demand, and when it is good in terms of your logistic rates and in terms of procurement rates in countries, and you could be looking at uh, supply chain vendor for these kind of high-end chemicals. Next slide, please. The next option that we are also looking at is you still don't have to get into the processing part. This is the part which comes after processing, wherein you will be looking at just handling the marketing channels for these finished chemical components as well. Again, you won't be getting your hands deep into manufacturing as such in this case, but you will be looking at how to handle the finished goods. What are the markets that are having a good demand for these products, which also will be showcasing in the next few slides. And how do we take care of, again, the regulatory aspects in India, as well as the countries where you're going to export the chemicals. Again, very highly lucrative sector, although it is part of the chemical manufacturing sector itself, but you won't be getting into the processing of these chemicals. You will be mostly in the distribution and marketing of the end products. So why we are classifying the entire process chain into three different sectors is because this is a global trend also, and what we have been seeing even within India. Manufacturing is moving more like a service as of today. We've been telling time and again to our the entrepreneurs and to our clients as well who are coming in, get into the entire stuff of the supply chain, handling of the raw materials, and handling of the labor force as well, and then getting into processing of the entire whatever be the product, and finally getting into distribution. So is it the requirement of the day that only one person should get into all of this, or could we look at very specialized kind of setups which are coming up as we talk in many parts of India as well, where one person who is good at setting up of the units, or he owns the machineries, he owns the entire setup, and he allows people to come in and work on his machines, get the product out, and they carry on from there. This is a way of not just playing on your I would say, the advantages or the strategic advantages that you might have. It also helps in compartmentalizing the entire manufacturing process. So there could be people who are very good at marketing, but they are not very good at operations, or not very good at looking at how to source the raw materials and things like that. Then these people only focus on the last part of the entire process chain, which is distribution and new market entry kind of strategies. Then there are people who are very good at looking at how to manufacture per se. Then in that case, you could be looking at just the process where you are only manufacturing, you are running the job work, you own the labor force, you own the entire the process chain. Maybe you have patent over the entire process chain and also the way the entire process is going to work, and you run the entire process on a hired premise. So these are some of the new trends that are coming up, and that is why we wanted to open it up as well to our customers. There are a lot of financial institutions today who own the machineries. So your capex comes down by that much amount. So you become a kind of a renter, or a on a lease basis. You use these machines, you make your product, and then you are out of that unit. So you don't have overhead costs of running the unit, or overhead costs of utilities and things like that. You pay for as much number of hours that you are using those machines. So this is a new and emerging model that is coming up. Next slide, please. So with the opening up your mindset, otherwise it's more like a traditional mindset, right? So wherein you are just looking at, I'm going to set up a factory, I'm going to get n number of people who will be supplying to me, and I'll be again searching in the market for who is going to buy my product. So instead of going with that mindset, what we are looking at is a more of a high value model, wherein you will obviously, in this case, a lot of changes will happen in terms of the capex that you are looking at, what your capex will be going for. Say, for example, in the traditional pricing model, your capex was more going for the setting up cost and the machinery cost, and also, of course, for the land and setting up of the the construction cost of the plant. But in this case, your capex will more be focused on how well you can handle the raw materials, how much you can put for the raw materials, how much early can you buy the raw materials vis-a-vis your traditional competitor, and what kind of price arbitrage you can leverage over there. So these are some of the key factors that we have highlighted, which of course we'll be sharing with you to give an understanding of how the new model will be different from the traditional commodity model. See, having said that, it is not that every every chemical can be made in such a scenario. There could be very highly patented, like how sir was talking about a few API chemicals, which cost anywhere between 50 lakhs to even 1 crore for kg. So in these cases, they are very highly specialized, and you'll be looking at very small batch mode kind of preparation processes. So obviously you'll have to, your IP is the core aspect, and you'll have to guard that. So in that cases, this model might not be suitable. But for a new entrant who is, looking to scale within the chemical sector, I think that's a very good model. We do have a lot of, industries as well as, financial institutions who own machines, who are ready to lease it out. And there are process owners as well who have been, with government organizations as well as with private research organizations who have patents for these processes, who have also done commercial viability for these processes, who can, lease out their licenses. Or I think one of the questions that came up was, do I need to have a bee farm? No, you don't. You don't need to have a bee farm. You need to, have licensed processes which will be, operating within your factories. So in that case, you'll be either paying a royalty, or you could, hire these licenses from the owners. So These are some of the key aspects which we wanted to highlight as a difference between the traditional model and the high value model. Next slide, please. Yeah. So now, as I was saying, there is a lot of areas where a person can enter into the chemical manufacturing industry, not by just setting up of the unit, but also looking at, a lot of people are looking at getting into the regulatory and the compliance framework, which is a huge potential. And this comes only in two particular industries. One is chemical and one is pharma, of course, to some extent in the food industry. But these are the two industries where it is highly prominent and it is the need of the hour. Only because of the mounting regulations and regulatory changes that are happening with the US FDA, with the EU FDA as well. So that is where the whole process of looking at people who will be able to just handle or liaison with the local governments, local authorities, and try to smoothen out the entire process. This is again one more big sector which can be looked at. The reason why we are hinting again and again at the regulatory framework is also that we are expecting, like how sir was telling, a huge change in the entire manufacturing ecosystem. What China was producing will start moving over to India, and once it starts moving over, there will be a lot of GMPs which need to be adhered to within the API sector, as well as with the other high specialty chemicals. How does someone look at so many regulations? What kind of certifications that he needs? So all this will require very good, I would say, an expert in the, and also somebody who knows what is economically feasible. It is not that I set up a state art, all the ISO compliance, all the GMPs have been ticked in. Obviously, it takes time and money to set up such a unit. But at the end of it, if you find that my entire specs was so high to set up such a unit, and now I am at loss of orders, that I don't have enough orders to justify such a pay, then again, it's a difficult situation to be in. So it should be set over a period, looking at what are of course what is the economic feasibility, a well-developed unit. In fact, people come to us, our clients say, but he spent about 1.5, about 2 years to set up an pharmaceutical plant in Central India. And it took him about close to 2 years. But then at the end of it, he realized that the particular drug that he was going to manufacture is the license is coming to end of life. That is, it's going to be made public to everybody. Now, in that case, the patent he's going to lose. So whatever is paid from the EU company is going to end. So then, in that case, where is his competitive advantage? And he has 2 years setting up the plant. So all these aspects have to be in depth. It's not that somebody is going to give the machinery and somebody who's then just now it happen that way. And this is not also something which we encourage, because at each step, even we doing a market research, we make sure that the entrepreneur is involved at every step, because at the end of it, a report which is given to an entrepreneur of your status and your knowledge, I'm sure you won't be able to take the next step unless you have put in your thoughts. What is the kind of the marketing potential that this particular product has? If you do not have the confidence to get into it, I make a report, make you take the next step. So we make sure that every step we take in the entire process, making be the market research report or the product, it could be a detailed project report, or in fact in the machinery procurement, we make sure that at every step the entrepreneur is involved. This is something that to put in something and then there is some mind that we wave and the industry will be ready. It never happens that way. We suggest that such kind of whenever some people have such kind of expect, we try to tone it down and then we sit with them, try to understand why they want to get in traction. So these are some of the key things that somebody has to look into. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So now, obviously, there are a lot of government schemes and processes that are being given out from the government. Highlight two of them because once we get into chemicals, it's a huge this one. Like how sir was telling, there are good schemes to even set up a very good ETP plant. So and that itself is a huge sector. Setting up of ETP plant for ZLD, zero level discharge, is a huge sector. In fact, entrepreneurs has gone into this sector, and recently he has set up unit in Andhra Pradesh, and he's only getting into ZLDs for the ethanol, the RS or rectified spirits or the ENA kind of product. Itself is a huge sector. Again, you can look at chemicals for these tests, like chemicals which go chemicals which go into the CB. So these are some of the other sectors that you look at as well. Now, when we look at schemes, the broad level schemes, if you look at PLI, of course, PLI is not for any smaller investments. It's for some of the larger investments or somebody looking at upwards of 50 crores and above. But this is a very good incentive, just like how it is for any other sector. PLI is again based on production linked scheme. You will not receive any grants or any aid until you set up and start producing. The next is PCPIR. This is again to a few states. Gujarat, Dahej in Gujarat is one place. Then there is I think Paradip in Paradip, Odisha. Then Nagapattinam is one more place in Tamil Nadu. So these a few places have recognized Visakhapatnam also in AP. So then these places have been recognized, and the government is giving extra incentive for setting up of units in these places. So when I say incentives, it could be some of these areas where they are looking at for setting up of units within these PCPIR is polyester chips. It could be thermoforming, synthetic films. So such kind of products are being promoted in these PCPIR areas. Polyester yarn is also something which the Gujarat Agrochemicals is being promoting. Now the key highlight of this is there will be an anchor industry in this PCPIR, and the entrepreneurs can look to set up industries to supply to these anchor industries. For example, Gujarat Agrochemicals or IOCL. So these are the anchor industries which are already set up in these PCPR or in the process of setting up, and the entrepreneur will be supplying chemicals to these industries. So it's more like who the clients are, what the going on market rates are. So it depends on how well you can, how much of optimization you can look at in setting up of the plant, and in how well you can get the raw materials. The next is the R&D support. There are a few schemes out of which I'll be talking about the ANRF, the Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which is giving something called Startup Research Grant, SRG, and Core Research Grant, CRG. The budget is right now, actually there is no upper limit for this budget for the research and for both the startups and as well as for an established industry. But what we have seen is, typically it goes for up to about 35 lakhs for R&D only. And this can be looked at periods of 1 to 3 years, wherein you need to do the R&D and then come up with your findings. So the only con that we have looked at in this scheme is, see, ANRF is mostly run by government officials. So what we have seen, or how we have helped one of the entrepreneurs is, rather than go directly to an ANRF and approach the government directly, it becomes very difficult to convince them for any kind of R&D funding. So the other workaround is we have helped them to tie up with university professors. There are a lot of universities like UCT and things like that, which have professors who are open to assist entrepreneurs who are looking at R&D. So in that case, it becomes slightly easier because the professor is recommending your R&D budget and why and what of it. So then the questions from the ANRF officials becomes lesser, and the process also becomes more easier. So if anybody is looking at that aspect also, we can try to help them with that. Next slide, please. So we are looking at emerging market trends, and as I started off my talk also, the future trend what we are looking at is manufacturing becomes more like a service. So manufacturing as a service, something like SaaS. So we will be looking at very specialized players. People, there could be, like I was just talking, there could be people who own machineries, there could be people who own only the labor force, and there could be people who will own only the supply chain, or another set of people who will own only the marketing of the finished products. So in that case, each one becomes he becomes more and more in depth in his sector. As in, he only looks at marketing, or one person looks only at production optimization. So this is the emerging trend that is coming up, and I think a lot of them are also trying to catch up on it, although in a very informal way, but it is happening at the ground level as well. People are moving from doing the entire value chain, and concentrating on areas which are having their interests. So you could be either looking at only the digital part of the entire manufacturing value chain, or like how I was talking about only the regulations, and looking at new markets and trying to overcome these regulations in new markets. So these are some of the emerging market trends that we are looking at. And also, if you look at TCPIR, it is also moving an entrepreneur in that direction. See, in case of, like I was telling, an anchor company which is going to be set up over there, you will be manufacturing most of your chemicals or your finished goods for the anchor company itself, which is so huge that they will be able to take in all your finished products. So this is where your focus will be only on those particular chemicals. You won't be looking at marketing or other aspects, because you know who the customer is. Your only core this one is, you'll be processing the chemicals. Again, you can try to outsource the entire raw material procurement part of it. Then you will be only looking at processing as your key area. So these are some of the emerging trends, and this is where we are also seeing our entrepreneurs more interested in the new age entrepreneurs who are coming to us. Next slide, please. Yeah, so if I look at, as I was talking about, a few of the aspects in the policy landscape also, there is a new set of CMSR, that is the Chemical Management and Safety Rules, that is being drafted. The old one, I think, has been completely revisioned as of today. There are, because obviously the kind of incidents that are happening, like how sir was telling in Hyderabad, or be it in Gujarat, a lot of changes are being brought in. We are looking at green chemistry in a very big way. Carbon credit trading is also going to be set up. In fact, we were talking to one of the government officials last week itself, wherein he was mentioning that the government of Gujarat as well as government of Karnataka are looking at pushing for setting up of carbon trading platform on an entire India level. to see if the carbon credits that are being captured can be traded in the global markets. So this will be something that we are also working with the government organizations, and we are trying to give our inputs as well. Of course, if somebody is interested in that, we can have a session on that as well, on how to look at carbon credit trading, especially from a green, chemistry kind of aspect. We had a session on green hydrogen as well a few months back, and that again has immense potential. Not just making green hydrogen, because of course green hydrogen itself requires a lot of investment, but there are a lot of ancillary industries that will come up, who will be supplying chemicals or who will be supplying process controllers for these industries as well. So that is something which is can be looked at as well. And of course, a lot of PR on the Make in India initiative and the PLI schemes as well, wherein they want to reduce your burden on the fix part of it. A lot of institutions are coming up with working capital assistance and things like that, raw material procurement assistance, also assistance in marketing the products in various countries. So we have our tie-ups with the Israeli consulate as well as with the German consulate, wherein we regularly conduct programs to look at what are the emerging chemicals which are being made in these countries, not just in the chemical sector but in other sectors as well. But having this focus on the chemicals sector, we work a lot with the Israeli consulate and the German consulate. A lot of breakthrough technologies that are being made there. They are looking for technology partners, or I would say they have the technology and they are looking for partners in India to take this forward. So we can obviously try to see how we can open that up as well. We have, I think, 3-month sessions which keep happening within Solution Buggy or with the Israeli consulate. We can open that up as well. Next slide, please. So due to shortage of time, I think I'll have to hurry a bit. The export opportunities, like how I was talking about, the growth drivers obviously is the China Plus One strategy, the free trade agreements that we are having with Middle East and UK and other countries. Domestic demand is also increasing a lot, but again, like I said, when you are competing in the domestic market, it's more like, am I doing you'll be more or less competing only on the price advantage. So that also has to be looked at, if your market is the domestic market, or are you looking at export potential. So obviously we are the fourth largest manufacturer and exporter of agrochemicals. The demand has been growing day in. And also there are a lot of new products that are coming out. If you look at either IFCO Tokyo or it could be Cargill, so who are reaching end of life for their patents, so that can be opened up, and those technologies can be bought in as well. Next sector, please. Next slide. Yeah, so an ideal approach. So what next after this webinar? You could have n number of questions. An ideal approach, what we would suggest you to have, not if you, I mean, I'm not saying that you should come to us only, but with whatever mindset that you want to have, you would be looking at where my key area of strength is, and how do I know that? You try to do a technical feasibility study within your area with a a good consultant who will let you know which are the areas, obviously which are the emerging markets and which are the emerging products that you can look at. Beyond that, what are the kind of strengths that I myself have within me, which area should I focus at? And after that, it could be what are the challenges that I have in terms of either it's the infrastructure, or is it the kind of raw materials that I have to look at, or it could be, am I looking at the domestic market, or am I looking at only the export oriented market? And what kind of capex needs to be looked at? What is my holding power also? Say in cases of GMP practices and things like that, minimum time to start the setup, and when you start hitting the for your first trial production, it could be anywhere between 1 year to 18 months. So in that case, do I have the wherewithal to sustain for so long is also something which you will have to look at. The innovation aspects, of course, we talked about all of these, areas. Green chemistry is something that is emerging and coming up very fast. You don't have to, get like, obviously you can look at setting up of labs to test the green chemicals, give out these certifications, and that also is a very lucrative sector. Lower capex, lower opex also, I would say, not much of raw material holding and things like that that you will have to look at. So labs are something which we ourselves are facing dearth of whenever we need to do some tests, and especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, there is a huge potential for setting up of labs and testing facilities, uh, we- which today are going to the metros or the bigger cities. So that is again a huge potential. We can of course discuss which are the best areas to set up, proximity to your clients and things like that. But again, something which an emerging entrepreneur can look at. With that, I think I come to an end of my small discussion. Next slide, please. And we could open it up. Of course, Amisha will be handling the question and answers, and we can look at the question and answers. Just before that, I think all of you will see a poll coming up on your screen. It's an interactive poll. I would suggest have a look at it, and please give your valuable insights and what you expect from your journey in the chemical sector. What are you looking at? What kind of budget you are looking at? Do you have any products in mind? A few simple questions, I think about 4 to 5 questions, which the team is trying to get from the entrepreneurs, just in case to help them better, and also to make sure that you have thought through the entire process. So as you are answering the questions, I think it will take about 25 to 30 seconds to answer these questions. One thing we would time and again highlight is, there is no magic wand that a consultant holds to set up your unit. It's always the amount of involvement from your end and also from the consultant's end, which gives a win-win formula. Because for us, as Solution Buggy or any other consulting firm, it's more like whatever knowledge that we have gained over the last 8 to 10 years with the 10,000 plus experts that we have on the platform, we would definitely want to help new entrepreneurs. It's not like that, we set up a unit and then at the end of it, we have a percentage on that and we move out of it. That will not serve either our or your purpose. So as we set up the unit, it becomes more and more imperative that you understand the kind of experts that are coming in, and the vast set of experts that you have access to, which makes a lot of difference. See, there could be a person who has done, who's from ICT or UDT and things like that, and he has 40 years of experience. But would it be a prudent choice to trust your entire capex or whatever 4 to 5 crores or even 50 lakhs for a bit, for an example, into one person's hand, or would you want a set of professionals who know what they are doing and who are good at each of these sectors? So one could be good at marketing, one could be good at liaising, he could be good at understanding market potential for a particular chemical, or he could be good at just negotiations in machinery procurement or where the best machineries are. See, today you might think that a lot of machineries have to be imported, but we have equally good machinery available in parts like Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, which are very competitively priced. You have good service for these machines. So in that case, you don't have to import the entire assembly line. So these are some of the key aspects which we try to educate the entrepreneur and make him feel that uh, so that his involvement is also there within the entire setup. So I think, Amisha, if the polls have been answered, you can take over. And
Yes, sir.
open it up for
So We will now move into a short Q&A session, and I request all the attendees to type their question in the chat box. So we will take 5 to 6 questions, giving about 20 seconds each. And so there are some questions in the chat box. So could you please answer it, Mr. Krishna?
Any question unanswered? I think I answered all. If anything, just highlight me so that.
I'm just looking into the questions, Krishna sir.
Right.
Yeah, so I think this one is, I think it is more like, I would say, a general question, I could also say. When you are looking at, distribution of chemicals, are there any key aspects that an entrepreneur has to look at?
See, you mean the aspects to be considered in the distribution, I mean, right? That's
Yes.
the question.
So should he look at the domestic market, or what should he look at? Or if he's looking at export markets, what are the pros and cons of doing that?
See, a few things. If they already selected the product, okay, to be traded, I mean, let's say, then the only factor is like safety and the hazard we have to be worried of, right? Okay, right. So there is a process called hazard study. What to do in any industry, whether it is in fact we should do that in our homes also when cooking, right? Okay, we take care of safety at every stage of our life. Same way we have to take care of that. I mean, okay. So in fact, our maritime industry, the authorities, they will definitely ensure that how safely the material can be transported from one continent to other continent. I mean, but irrespective of the measures taken, there are incidents, oil spillages happening, the whole ship is drowned out and all. They are the very rarest incidents happen in the market. Okay, but we should be ready for that. See, insurance coverage will be there for everything what they do in the shipping. I mean, okay, that is safe, no issue. Okay, and similarly, when it comes to in India, when we get the product in Indian shore, there is a process called custom clearance, right? And again, we have to transport it to our warehouse, store it safely, right? Okay, and dispensing of the product is normal. What happens? When we import the product, it will be in one container minimum, let's say, which will be at 20 tons kind of thing. Whereas you will be selling the product in the loose containers, let's say, 100 or 500 kgs or 1000 kgs. I mean, okay. You have to dispense the product. So while dispensing, you had to take care of the safety measures. I mean, and again, transportation, inland and delivering. Okay. But there's not a major hassle. I mean, see, when the economy is growing, you must know what is the volume of chemicals being imported. I mean, right? Okay. For example, I'll say, these petroleum products, right? Okay. Now, India, 90% is dependent on other countries, right? You all know that. Now, imagine the volumes being, the shipping done of those petroleum chemicals every day, right? Okay, that is how it is. Okay. So, the petrol or diesel what we're using, or even the gasoline gas what we're using, I mean, they are shipped from Russia, Ukraine, or many countries in a ship containers which are having volumes of almost 5 lakh tons. I mean, imagine. Okay. So these are the volumes handled. I mean, so there are definitely proven safety, procedures available in the market. Should not be point of worry. Okay, right. Thank you. I hope I have answered it, right?
Yes, sure. If somebody is looking to enter the dyes and pigments or surfactants industry, what are some of, if you know, what are some of the low cost alternatives or low capex kind of industry that he can look at?
Yeah, see, anything can be done, okay, starting from 10 lakhs to 100 crores also, depending on what volume you want to manufacture. Okay, it is, I would say, it's an individual's capability of investments. I mean, what they're looking, okay, right? So industry can be of any size. I mean, okay, but if it is a low investment, I would say better they concentrate on high value products, right? Okay, so where the margins are considerably high. I mean, right? Okay, see, these low margin products are having large competition in the market. So with the low investment, we will not be able to sustain in the market, right? Okay. So if you are looking at the raw investment, definitely it should be the high value product where it's a niche market, but it's a definite market. I mean, okay. So we can suggest you those specific products if you come back with your investment, what you want to kind of thing, right? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one last question. Is corn something which can be used to make high value chemicals?
Pardon?
Corn.
Yeah.
Can it be used to make any high value chemicals?
Yeah. See, I don't say high value. High value is possible when we go for a total destruction of corn and produce kind of thing. But you see, we all know that corn is the major input in the ethanol production now, right? Our cattle feed is one of the major product which is a demand globally. I mean, right? Okay, right. These are the minimum or least things what we can immediately do. I mean, right? See, everything is possible. Again, I said no. Like if we distract and we can even, but the doesn't match, right?
Right.
So huge investments required to produce high value products. That I mean, that's because we can do easily rather than okay, right? So the best advice using corn, the cattle feeds, or even animal feeds, even human feeds. There are so many varieties we can make it.
Like corn starch and corn
Yes,
syrup.
yes,
And,
yes.
right.
You don't believe there is one company in Belgaum which is doing almost 10,000 crores just using corn as feed. Okay, they have almost 150 varieties of outputs from the corn, right?
Right.
When they process, they see that every gram of that feed is used to produce one variety of their product. Okay, right? They produce human feed also, animal feed also, ethanol also, everything that way. Okay. See, I would put it this way: there is no waste in the world. I'm telling you, it's all up to us how we use it. Really, there is nothing waste. I'm telling you. Okay. Everybody's waste is one input, others input. Let's say like that. Okay. The best simple example is, let's say we produce metal scrap in an industry, right? So for an industry, it is a scrap, it's a waste. But for a scrap dealer, it is a gold, I'm telling you. Okay. So I'm giving a simple example to make you understand. Otherwise, nothing is waste in the world, I'm telling you. It's all up to the gentleman who look at as the opportunity. Again, I am saying somebody's failure is your success, somebody's waste is your input. Simple as that. Okay. Right.
Right. Thank you.
Wonders can be done. Yeah.
Thank you. I think, Amisha, you can maybe wind up.
Can I take one more minute?
Yes,
before-
please.
Okay.
Go.
It could be useful for all the audiences here. See, for everybody, wherever I go as consultancy, I give one best example. People are worried of failures rather than success. Okay, that's what I see in the market is that again. Okay, right. But you might all seen in the same given industry or a category, there are so many newcomers coming and so many old players are going out as a failures. So when there are failures, why newcomers are coming? Right? There's a question to be asked within us again. Okay. So to support this one best example, what I use is the airlines, Kingfisher, is a big failure, right? Okay, he went bankrupt, whatnot. Some 20,000 crores. No, it has become a world, global discussion, right? Okay, but the origin of Kingfisher is what? Who? Deccan Airlines, right? So when it was Deccan Airlines, it was a successful industry. The whole globe was looking at him as a model, right? Okay. The moment it was taken over by Kingfisher, within 1 year or maximum 2 years, it went bankrupt, right? So what I mean to say is, it's not the technology product, okay, though it matters for an industry, but business is all about the financial discipline, okay? How we manage our funds or finance is very important to business, actually, okay? So the failure of Kingfisher is the best example for anybody. He failed because of the mismanagement of the funds. This is one example I'm giving because people are aware. There are many such examples, we can quote kind of thing. So please don't worry about the failures. Okay, failures are not because of the technology process market. It is mainly because of the finance management. Okay, and what I can give or what Solution Buggy can give is, we can give end-to-end solutions like selection of process, product identification, product technology. We can prepare a detailed project report. Okay, we can make site plan, detailed engineering, prepare BOQs for you. Okay, and even help raising funds. Finances. Okay, through banks or non-banking sectors or the investors. Okay, depending on the technology product what we handle. Okay, And we can as well help you in getting quotations from the various sources, right? Okay, and help you in choosing the good best technology at the machinery for industry, right? And support in executing the whole project, starting from scratch to the building the infrastructure. Then commissioning will be we can be hand in hand in your operational management also. Finally, in marketing support. Okay, so these are the verticals where we can be hand in hand with you. It's up to you, depending on your capabilities or selection or choose. We can be with you. Okay, fine. Thank you, one and all. Hope you enjoyed. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Amisha, you can take over.
Thank you, speakers. Hope you all got your queries answered. As we wrap up, I thank our speakers, our partners, and all the attendees who joined us in this morning. So this was only the beginning. Our next session will focus on green and sustainable chemicals, and I encourage you all to join and gain valuable insight for your future venture. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Kedarji. Thank you, Krishnaji. Thank you, all the participants.